tribulation, my heart, my walls. Somebody stop, somebody come and get me. Little did I know that the Lord was riding with me. The dark, the light, my heart, the fight, the wrong, the right, the storm.
Yo, what's going on out there, everybody? We are back on a Sunday at 4:00 for our overview and recap, as you can tell at the very bottom, of Superman and Lois, episodes 7 through 13. This is spoiler filled. If you hadn't seen the episodes yet, I apologize. What's going on, Lucas?
What's going on? Yeah, because this is a long amount. This is a huge amount of episodes to do all at one time.
So we're not going to get everything.
As we kept on running into other things that had to be done. So we decided to give you to you since it looks like CW is taking another 2-week unnecessary break between Superman episodes.
Right. Yeah, the last time we were here was May the 19th, and after that I had my son, and we have been on kind of a hiatus of like content here or there, festivals here or there, and a whole bunch of craziness. So let's go ahead and just kind of get into it. Lucas, from episodes 7 through 13, what was one of your favorite episodes? I feel like that's a good way to tackle it. What was one of your favorites?
Okay.
Because it's been a lot of reveals. There's been a lot of things that they just kind of like thrown at us, like from this crazy show. But I was curious as to what was one of your favorite moments or one of your favorite episodes, and kind of like, let's kind of talk around that from that point.
Well, possibly the favorite moment would be John's reveal that he's not Lex Luthor, that he's John Henry Irons. That was a huge moment for this show. To play it up like that, it made me question a certain, and I hate to say it this way, a certain writer's comments about only having black people as villains on the show. And this is like, wait a minute, how's that possible? Technically, we have no black villains on the show.
Yeah.
The only black guy we have on the show is actually a hero.
Right.
But his reveal was a huge thing for me. I'm trying to remember. One of my favorite episodes, I can't remember which one it is, but it's the flashback episode with Superman with Morgan Edge going through his head. Yes. And he's flashing back to different parts of his life and different things that are happening. Because it kind of shows the mind control thing, which we all know is an issue with Superman from time to time.
Correct. Yeah, that episode, let me actually get the episode name real quick, because that was one of my favorite episodes as well. It's not a brief reminiscence of in between cataclysmic events. Episode 11.
That is a heck of a name there.
but no, in all honesty, like I was watching, they started it off right, and I was like, oh, okay, this kind of is like, going from the beginnings, and I was like, bruh, I could literally watch a show just on the beginnings of this, because it just, the way that they framed it, the way they did it, the intrigue, the way they kind of spent the character in a different light. And at the same time, let him progress. Like, it wasn't just this stick that, okay, I'm going to be a reporter and do this. Like, no, like there's value to his interaction with Lois outside of being Superman. And they can play that as a strength and a weakness at the same time. And I was like, I'm loving this. And so that was one of my favorite episodes because it felt like a real true to life Superman story. And I think the way they executed it at the very end of it, with him being overtaken or about to be overtaken, was amazing. I think Tyler, honestly, he surprised me, man. Like you said it in the beginning that Tyler is a superior Superman than a lot of other Supermen.
No, I didn't say a lot of other. I said one particular person. Don't try to say a lot of other. I say he is superior to that last guy who did the emo Superman in the movies. Far superior.
Well, I'm going to say this. He is probably my favorite TV Superman that they've come out with to date. And in terms of like compare him to live action, I kind of compare him to him and Brandon Routh with certain nudges here and there. But I'm loving what Tyler's doing with this. Like he's got a lot of different ranges when it comes to the character. It feels like he really truly understands the character, and the people behind the scenes really truly understand how to really play this in a way that's never been played before. Because, like, I mean, we know Superman from the comics, we know he's capable of, but how do you make Superman interesting? How do you make him not just appealing, but something to, rally behind, kind of,
Well, we said it before. This is also the oldest Superman ever shown.
True.
So because of that, he has to come across differently. The naive parts of him are now gone. He knows how to be Superman. Like, it's equivalent to the Spider-Man movies, and you were waiting for the moment when Spider-Man is Spider-Man and him not learning to be Spider-Man. And for all the Superman that we've gotten beforehand, until the later seasons of Lois and Clark, where Superman kind of knew he was Superman. This is him from the beginning, letting you know, I know exactly who I am, what I'm supposed to do, even down to the way he talks about the dangers of him losing control.
Right.
That goes along with him knowing himself. Him bringing up, like, I think it was episode 12, where he brings up, or maybe episode 13, where he brings up how it felt to let go.
It felt good. Like, he admitted it to Lois because, that's right, because Edge was antagonizing him.
Well, Edge pointed out to him too, like, have you ever not done that before? You got to walk a certain way, because if you don't, you can destroy everything. So it puts another perspective on what it takes to be super. It kind of takes away the joy of being Superman. If I got to do all this other stuff,
right,
not to kill everybody in my presence.
Right. Because he was like, you're always holding back. And it was an old animated episode where I think that Clark was going up against, I think it was Darkseid, matter of fact. And like, he was saying something along the lines like, I'm always holding back, always trying not to let go. Well, today I'm gonna let go. And they just kind of had that fight off of that. And that plays to this. And even just this scene though, like some of the scenes and the shots that they're able to get on a TV level, I am so surprised, man. Like, because this one right here, when he was kind of rolling down the alley, I was like, yo, I could look at this on a movie screen. And I would legit, I mean, with a little bit more budget, but I don't know, man. What they're doing with this on so many different levels, it far superior. It surpassed my expectation that I could have thought for the show. I didn't think the show was going to be good to begin with. But then when I kind of started to like it, I didn't think that it would keep going and still pushing the envelope. And right now, it's one of my favorite CW shows they've ever done. And I don't know. I never thought that I would actually say that.
I remember saying something like that to you before this show aired, how good it would be, just because of the angles they had to play, and coming off of what I still think is the best first season of a show, at least since Arrow that they've done, which was Stargirl. That, okay, if you're going to go to that point and you're going to push Stargirl to that area, at that point I was imagining, then what could you possibly do with Superman? Because one thing that we loved about Stargirl is the way it was shot.
Yes.
It was shot unlike anything else on the CW. And then you turn around and you get a show that kind of reminiscent and shot like not like The Flash, Legends, Black Lightning, any of those shows. But the weird part is we say that, but it's very reminiscent of the shots that you got in this first season of Arrow.
True. Very true. And that's a good point, Terrence. Even the score, some of the musical cues were freaking dope, because that moment when Clark was actually being turned, it was an emotional gut punch, because they kept on transitioning to him and then back to the family. And the family were just like, they were crushed. Lois didn't know what to do. She got these kids that Jordan was kind of blaming himself, because he was like, I was right there. I could have helped my dad. And this is the thing. I'm gonna say this. I don't know if you feel the same way, but as much as I love Jordan, Jonathan is honestly one of my favorite characters, bro. Jonathan has no powers and yet always has everybody's back. everybody, always sacrificing himself for everybody, keeping all the secrets, you know. And even like the last episode 13, like I was kind of like, man, that girl's using you, dog. Like I know she claims she like you. I know you kind of maybe there's something here or there, but I was like, she's gonna turn on him. And sure enough, it was like yet another time that he's continuously just being like pushed to the side because of his relationship with his dad ultimately. And he's not spiteful against it. He still tries to help his family.
Is it because they gave them to the split that Jonathan, personality wise, is way closer to Clark than Jordan is?
Yeah.
While Jordan has the powers, Jordan still isn't learned how to deal with what he has and is extremely insecure about things.
Very, very, very. And I just love Jonathan as a character. The fact that when they were talking about, I think he was talking to John Henry Irons, and he was like, you know what, man, I just left school or something like that, and I just kind of was looking at your suit. Like he was trying to make small talk. He was trying to connect to somebody.
Yep.
And as much as his mom tries to connect with, like, she's still got her own thing. Like she's a reporter. She's a professional reporter. And so Jonathan really has nobody to connect with. And he was just trying for a moment to have that. And then that was robbed from him very quickly as well. And I love that crux about the character. I think he's just written so well.
And that's because John is just like him, someone with no powers who still may be called on to step up. And that's what he connected with the most.
That's a fact. That's a fact. But we got to talk about the Morgan Edge reveal. So Morgan Edge, it was like episode, man, I don't even know. Episode 9, Loyal Subjects, I believe was the name of the episode. It was revealed that all along that Morgan Edge is actually Kryptonian. Not a fake, like actually Kryptonian. And he is Clark's half brother. They have the same mother, but different fathers. What did you feel about that reveal? I'm gonna ask you a better question. So, how have you felt about Morgan Edge from this point? Because I felt like they could have pulled the punches a little bit, but instead they were like, "We're just gonna go for it all the way."
I was happy he wasn't Zod.
Yeah,
that's what I was most happy about. Of them saying, "No, we're gonna make him Clark's brother, who is not part of comic book lore. I don't believe, not this character." So just to create it and say, okay, we're gonna go a different angle here with this and see what we can do with this character.
Right.
Leading unto the big reveal of episode 13 with this character, which then I think is very interesting that you can take a character from the comic books, which is Morgan Edge, flip that character to something completely different that's not in anyone's comic book, and then flip it right back to a completely different character that is in the comic books.
Right.
Like, one, it shows the range of the actor to be able to do this. And it shows the confidence of the writing staff and the people behind the scenes to even do this to a Superman story. Because you kind of know you're going to get purists of any comic book character, especially Superman, which may say, man, that's not the way that's supposed to go. And that could immediately turn them off. But here they went with it, and they was like, no, I think our audience will get it.
Yep. Yeah, and it was crazy because they kept on bringing up Eradicator. And I was like, why they keep calling this device the Eradicator? I was like so thrown off. I was like, are they going to, because I mean, I was like, ain't no way that they can make that work. I was like, you already got all the pieces on the board already. I was like, I don't see how this is going to work. Sure enough, they pulled it out their pocket some kind of way, you guys. And now Morgan Edge, if you've seen the 13th episode, his last episode, he is literally soaking up energy from the sun directly, not from Earth, but he is literally soaking up energy from. And I was kind of just like, I don't know that Clark is gonna beat him, regardless of help or not. Regardless, because I mean, one of the things that Lucas, you posed a really good question. It's kind of like in the comics, yeah, that's something he could deal with, but it's like he was in a room with kryptonite, and it did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. And so I really am curious where they're going with this. But I'm loving it. And I think you're right. Like for them to flip the character multiple different times and do it in a way that's not too hokey or too cheesy. Because a lot of I don't want to call out any of the shows, but some of the CW shows tries to do that and they fail miserably.
I'm talking about the Flash with the lightsaber battle at the end of this season. It's fine. You can say it. You can say it. I mean, and that was based. See, the weird part is because sometimes things can have a basis in the comics, and maybe you shouldn't try it. Like that Flash scene technically has basis in the comics of the God character being able to do that and create a sword out of lightning. Guess what? It ain't smart for 3 people to be able to do that and for them to have a lightsaber battle. No, that's not smart. So sometimes it's good to venture away from the comics and be willing to change things for the betterment of the story.
Right.
And that's what you have here with Superman and Lois is they are clearly willing to change things if it'll make their story better.
Right.
And this Eradicator storyline could be very interesting because while you're right, he is soaking up power from the sun, which is nuts that he's doing that. If he fights Superman, this will be the first time you do have to have Superman not hold back. Not only, and I think they're setting it up that way by him saying how much he enjoyed it when he did. Also, we got to keep in mind this is an older Superman. So we've actually not seen a Superman nearly as strong as this one can be if he's not holding back.
Right. We really don't know. We really have no idea really how strong he really truly is. Because he said something to Lois with that same conversation. He's like, for 40 years, I've been training myself to control everything for every second. And that's crazy to think about. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like, imagine somebody that has that much control, how much more control they really have if they let go. And
you would have to have at this point, if we're going to get a huge battle, which I hope we do, but I pray they don't go super CGI heavy with. If we get the big battle that we think we're going to get, it will be interesting to see him not hold back at all.
Yeah.
And the consequences of him not holding back. Because I think that may be, look, as my mind wanders, I wonder, is that the setup for the next season? Because if he doesn't hold back, how do you get that back again?
Well, see, that's the thing. That's the line cross. That's the reason why Batman never crossed that line, because he feels as though he'll never be able to come back from it.
Yep.
If he ever does.
And if Superman decides at this point, I'm not holding back, and he does it for a good purpose, but it's a downside to him doing that is he got it. He just gave up 40 years of control.
Right.
How the heck does he? Again, it leads to interesting storylines because then it does put John way more in the forefront as a better Steel than the comic books and in a Shaq movie, because this Steel actually has tech that he can actually fight with.
Right.
Which is another very interesting thing. And his storyline has been, for a while there, it was the best storyline on this show.
I agree.
The point that they took the time and the patience to build this character the way that they did, this is a supporting character on the show. You don't see supporting characters, and he's not even like a second tier supporting character. He's more like a third tier because he's clearly behind Lois. He's clearly behind the boys, and then is this character that you spent a good portion of your season building this character up.
Dude, I just cannot believe how much time they spent to develop him as a character. Because it's kind of like, okay, the moment that like the twist is there, it's kind of like they could have just been like, oh, okay, well, he's gonna go and do his own thing. Like, no, he's still on the show, and we still need him and value him. Most of the CW stuff like that, whenever that twist happens, the character kind of goes to another show, or they kind of throw him away for a little bit, and he comes back the next season in the beginning of it. But now they've kept John around for a while, and he's a fully realized character in a way that I didn't think that they could actually do it. But we got to talk about episode 10 really quick, because episode 10 is the name of it was "Oh Mother, Where Art Thou?" where basically Morgan Edge has already gotten the army. He's taken over Kyle. Everybody's been activated.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, kind of like Superman realizes that he has no choice but to reach his mother. And to do that, and I was kind of like, I was so thrown. I was like, wait, hold on. So you're saying you're going to put Superman's mom in Lana, and Lana still don't know that this is Superman. And you got all this extra stuff that's on the back. And like, I was kind of like, how does he deal with that emotional baggage? Because he already lost his mom in the beginning of the season.
Yes.
His earthly mom. And then now this is the first time he's going to be able to actually even interact with his mom. Because she wasn't, I'm glad that they actually did something that even the animated series never did. It's kind of like, why did Laura never get her own AI simulation like, you know, the dad did, like Drell did. And he kind of explained it. And I was like, that's crazy. And so I just loved this episode as well, because I was surprised that they put her in Lana, but I knew that's where it was going. But then even deeper than that, the links that they went to in this episode and what Superman was willing to do. Yeah. Because I was like, he doesn't have a choice. Like, there's a whole army behind him. He's going to have to try to get this thing out of there. And I don't know. What did you think about that episode? I just love what they did with it from a character standpoint. All the different characters were in play, and they didn't like not have a moment. You know what I mean? You know, some episodes like
this was supposed to have been there. At one point, I thought this was the big turning episode.
Oh, the mid-season finale kind of thing?
Yeah, just because, again, this was the big reveal that not only does Edge have all these things in there, he has a complete army already built to take over.
Yep.
And it's enough episode to allow us to see what Superman can do. That's what it was. Because this scene, especially here, as he's climbing up, attempting to detonate the device to take everyone's Kryptonian consciousness out of the human bodies that they're in. Yeah. Like, that was a great scene. But it was also a great setup, because at this whole time, I think this is the episode 2 where we get a lot of the backstory of Morgan with his dad. And when he first got to Earth and everything he had to go through.
Yes.
Like, it was a great setup for that reason.
Yeah. I just thought that was one I was like, we got to talk about. It's just a lot of episodes, you guys. So I'm trying to pull a card out of a deck that is mixed up all over the place. Oh, that's another thing. So Kyle, your boy Kyle, who I hated. I hated Kyle in the beginning. And now I came to be like, oh man, I feel so bad for Kyle, because Kyle's just going through it. The whole entire season.
He's going through it because he deserves it.
No,
should have listened to Lois in the first place.
No. even with that, like his whole intentions were for the town. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's true.
The whole entire time, I was kind of like, man, he's this douchebag. Like he just in the way. Like, his character's gonna die. And now I'm kind of just like, daggone, like his family's getting abused. Like, they're just getting like ran through. And he's been the only one really trying to work for the town. Any way he could. Like, when the 13th episode came up and he went to, I think, some diner or whatever, and he saw the guy that he saved.
Hey, out of
and I was like, you shading the man that freaking saved your life, dog? Really?
Well, at that point, the town had turned on him, because they're going to blame him for everything that Morgan did.
That was foul, bro. That was foul. I was like, y'all need to move to Metropolis, because y'all deserve better.
Like, that's where I swear this is heading to, is them moving to Metropolis.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, they're not going to remove the love interest for Jordan, though. So unless my theory is something terrible is going to happen to Kyle.
I'm about to say, I think they would easily do it.
Really? You think you would remove the love interest for Jordan?
I see why not.
Because he got to have something.
Something like what?
Something to still motivate him to want to have human.
But if you're trying not to go all the way down the same route as every other CW show, maybe you do remove her. Maybe that works better to remove her.
I don't know. I just don't see them doing it. I feel like she's too much of a centerpiece character. But I do think one way or another, she's going to find out that Jordan's been lying this whole entire time. One way or another. Oh, snap.
Find out that Jordan has powers?
Yeah. I think she's going to find out. Thank you, squad, for the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Storytelling over visuals. That's how it's done. A Superman, Lois, we care for. Imagine that in big screen, if only. Right.
Because, well, you never know. Clearly, there's another Superman coming to the big screen that's going to look different. And then you're getting a secondary Superman coming to the small screen that's going to look different.
Right.
So you never know. It's just that this one beat everyone to the punch of it. And you kind of wonder, do you now want to go back to a Superman where he has to learn to be Superman all over again? Like, I don't want that Superman anymore.
Right.
Like, how many times can you kill Bruce Wayne's parents? Like, before you just like, I don't want to see that character anymore. I like the adult Superman, the grown-up, powerful Superman. And yes, Kyle did deserve it. He deserved everything he's getting. He shouldn't have acted that way towards Lois. See, it comes a point in time where being hard-headed gets you nowhere. And as many times as Lois tried to warn him, he didn't want to listen. Even when his wife was trying to persuade him, because that happened in this block of episodes too, where we get to reveal that Lana's like, no, they don't want you for it. And he goes behind her back and get it done. Like, he deserved it.
One of the things that I didn't like from Kyle was when Morgan Edge was literally like behind his wife, just talking about her, and I was like, he's kind of like pimping his wife out like that, and that was where I was like, man, I'm done with Kyle, bro. Like you, either you're a bad guy or you just dumb. And but it's like either way, it's like the whole family's being affected by it. It's not just Kyle. Like Lana didn't do anything. I mean, she went along with what her husband wanted, but she didn't do anything. And like that whole police situation at the lake, I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely tied to Lana's and Kyle's situation. But
but
we'll see.
But then you got to wonder just again where that story is going, because we know who Lois Lane is. So you're just not going to do that to someone who she cares for.
True.
And to have a Superman show where Lois and Lana are friends.
Just so weird, bro. It's so weird. And I mean, so to be fair, like, I'm glad they didn't be like, Lana just was like, she got this abusive husband and she's trying to get out of the relationship, and then she just all of a sudden pining over Clark again. Like, I'm glad they didn't go that route. They found value out of Lana Lane outside of Clark. Yep. Which is hard to do. Like, you always associate Lana with Clark's first love, and that's it.
Yep.
It's like she's Gwen Stacy before Mary Jane, and they've done some really great things with her and her family that I'm surprised to say I care about their family. Whereas initially I was like, I don't care about this family, bro. Like, if something happens, it happens.
I always cared about the family. I just didn't like Kyle.
I didn't. That's the reason why I couldn't do with it, man. I was like,
because you care about Lana and you care about the daughter. Those two are really important to this show, especially the dark dynamic that they played for the beginning, that they were that protective of her because of her mental health issues. Yeah, like that was a great angle to start off with, and now you're seeing the family build more. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you this question: do you feel? Because I feel like eventually, not only what would be interesting to me is by the end of the season if Lana and Sarah find out the secret of the Kents, and I feel like if they did, I feel like they would blame the Kents for what's happening. Because technically, until Superman came to town or came back to town, everything went downhill. Well, can you blame him for that when the town was open to taking in Morgan Edge before he got there? Yeah, but it was because of them. Like, he was following Clark. Like, it was because, I'm going to do this because Smallville's where
Clark.
No. But remember though, he always knew the kryptonite was in Smallville.
Yeah, but I'm
Because
saying that was
where Clark's ship landed at.
Yeah, I'm saying it's Clark's fault.
But I don't think they'll go. I hope they don't go that route. Everybody need to know who Superman is. Plus, he's been protecting his identity for how long now?
40 years from Lana.
Yeah,
I don't know how he did that. I don't know.
So there's not going to be a slip up now.
I'm almost willing to bet you, because this is why I say this, and we talked about it before, is that at the end of the day, Jordan and Jonathan, even though they're good kids, they're still kids, and kids are how loose lips sink ships. I feel like Jordan eventually, some kind of a way, it's going to get leaked to Sarah, and in hindsight, it's going to get leaked to Lana. I really do. I feel like the kids are going to be that gateway to them finding out, because nobody else is going to. I don't think anybody else.
Sarah finding out because Jordan does something stupid, but I don't think she would even tell her mother.
You don't think so?
No.
I feel like if something happened.
Now, here's the weird part, though. The most Jordan will say is that he has these powers. I don't think he's going to elaborate what his dad has.
No, he wouldn't. But it's kind of like,
do you put 2 and 2 together there and automatically think that he's Superman's son? But why would you, when you just came from a situation where the entire town had powers?
True. I mean, it's kind of like it would either be that Jordan is related to Morgan Edge, or he's just a part of.
Which again is something else that they're currently hiding.
Yeah,
is that Clark and Morgan are brothers? Yeah.
Matter of fact, how would the world take that? Because one thing I hated about episode 13 is what's the chick's name that runs the small newspaper? Chrissy. Mm-hmm. Chrissy was getting all pissy with Lois about not integrity, about being honest. Mm-hmm. Why? She doesn't owe her anything.
Yes, she does.
What work has Chrissy done?
No.
What work has Chrissy done?
She owes everything.
Bruh, nah.
She's in a profession where you're not supposed to lie and hold back anything. So the point that Lois knew it, because we've seen too many instances where Lois has held people to a standard that owed Lois nothing, and she would hold people to a standard. Matter of fact, this whole thing with Morgan Edge is her attempting to hold Morgan Edge to a standard like he owed Lois anything. He never owed Lois anything. But she wanted to hold him to a standard. So it's nothing wrong with her boss. Remember that too. This is her boss. Her boss, like, no, you're not allowed to cover this up. Especially when it became an integrity issue, because you're covering it up for your dad.
Yeah, but he works for the DOD, the government.
Remember in their conversation when they said that, well, you've gotten plenty of stuff from the DOD before. You don't think people are going to put 2 and 2 together like you were getting it from your dad before? Yeah. Why in this situation are you not willing to do your job?
I appreciate the way that Lois handled it, because she was been a lot nicer than I was. She was kind of like, I'm too close to this, but here's the information that you need. This is as much as I can give you without, saying too much.
I'm about to say lying anymore, because you're not close to it because it's your dad. You're close to it because Superman's your husband. And technically, Morgan is your brother-in-law. That's why you're too close to it. It has nothing to do with her dad.
Dude, so this is the weird thing about the situation with John. You remember when Lois pleaded with John
and revealed that Superman was her husband?
Right, like when she legit was, because she was asking everybody. She was like, she talked to her dad, she talked to other people. She was like, no, he hasn't turned. No, he hasn't turned. And then she was begging this man. And she's like, look, the reason why he still got humanity, because he literally has 2 little things around here that are from him, and because he connected to me. And honestly, I appreciate that they went that route with it, because they were setting it up for something, but I was kind of like, where are they going with this? And I just was like, I couldn't believe from an emotional standpoint. What's the actress that plays the role of Lois? I think she executed that really well. What is her name? I don't even know what her name is. I apologize. Elizabeth Tulich. She
Yeah.
killed that. I feel like she killed that scene because he was like, bruh, I'm here to kill him. That's it. It doesn't matter what value. And then, which is the crazy thing, which I was impressed by, is that at the end of the day, John still was like, he convinced Clark to snap out of it. And I just love the moment.
Go back before he convinces Clark to snap out of it. And his response to Lois was, yeah, it still gotta happen.
He did. He straight up was like, I gotta kill him. I don't care what.
I have no choice. Like, I understand who he is to you, but he still gotta die. Like,
right. And which plays into the 13th episode where Clark, in his heart, he was like, look, yo, we got to keep these weapons, bruh, because I am an actual threat. And even if you go back to like the animated series or like comics, he's always had conversations with people like Bruce Wayne that, yeah, I need a failsafe. Like, I need to be able to be kept in check in the event that something happens.
And especially in a time period where we don't have the Bruce Wayne to keep him in check.
Right. Do you think that they would ever bring a Bruce Wayne
not a
into
chance
the fold?
not a chance in nothing will they ever, under any circumstance. You will not see Bruce Wayne on the small but let me phrase that. You will not see Batman on the small screen. No. That is not allowed.
You don't think so? Even in Titan season 3, you don't think we're gonna see what's the man? What's the name?
No.
Ian
No. No, they don't play with Batman on the small screen. You'll get other people around Batman on the small screen, but you won't get Batman. Especially again whenever they decide to blend all of these shows back together again after a certain amount of shows die and survive. That's looks like a CW purge is about to happen with a lot of these DC shows.
I was like, everything's gone now except for the Flash.
And right. Flash, Legends, Batwoman, Stargirl.
Oh, and so no, I count Batwoman and Stargirl as like the new generation. I think that those are both gonna stay for a while. I mean,
I don't think so.
You think the Stargirl's gonna go?
Not Stargirl. Batwoman.
Really?
I mean, in all honesty, like it's still part of the old guard though. The only one that's part of the new guard is Superman and Lois and Stargirl. Because Batwoman has been in 3 crossovers at this point.
Yeah. Well, at least 2 or 3 at this point.
So I mean, that's what I mean. So when that purge happens and you get an event coming up again, because one thing about CW is they do like the event shows.
Yeah.
But I think they're not in a rush to connect Stargirl. They're not in a rush to connect this one. I don't think they're going to be in a rush to connect Naomi anytime soon.
Right.
But they still need you to know that they exist in these universes, which is, and brings us to Diggle showing up also in episode 10.
I was going to ask you about Diggle. What the heck are they actually doing with, because I was like, if he's not, they're gonna make him Green Lantern one way or another. At this point, it's gonna happen. But
you heard him say he turned down the ring, right?
Yeah, but he said that he had to go back on what show was it? Was it The Flash?
Keep in mind,
I forget what it was.
The reason why I'm going to say they will not give him the ring is because the Green Lantern show produced on HBO Max is produced by the same people that are producing Lois and Superman and Lois and Stargirl. It's the same, unlike in the past with the branches off of the DC shows. This show is going to have the exact same team behind it as all the rest of them. So this show will probably end up airing on HBO Max and then somehow, some way getting to the CW.
So, well, I mean, if that's the case, then they're going to make Diggle one of the Lanterns then, right?
I don't think so. I don't think that's, well, he's the David Ramsey. Mm-hmm. I think he's kind of been adamant that that's not something he wanted to do. that he wasn't interested in doing.
I agree, but it's kind of like they're doing the most. Like they literally are having this man on every. Like he was on the Flash randomly. He was on Batwoman randomly.
But remember, he is
Batwoman,
still part of Argus.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but every time that he on Batwoman, he literally started to get sick because he didn't answer the call to the ring.
Yep.
And I feel like they're not just doing that for no reason. I feel like they're gonna set him up for.
Could he become the head of Argus?
I mean, yeah, he could.
Which would put him in that overseer of the heroes type of role. Where he doesn't have to be on a show as a hero, but he can bounce between them, and he can be that overseeing factor over all the heroes. That always connective tissue whenever they need to pull him out. Plus, he directs these shows because that episode 10 he directed,
right?
Of Superman and Lois. So maybe that is the angle they may want to go with Diggle, and not the one that everybody wants, which is him to be Green Lantern.
Yeah. We'll see 12 different Robins before Batman.
Yep. And matter of fact, you're about to receive the because Jason Todd's coming on Titans this year.
Yeah, and we're getting Tim Drake too.
Yeah,
Black Tim Drake, matter of fact.
Yeah, and then you get Batwing magically has now popped up. Did I say his name right?
You did.
Yeah, okay. Because I know we have we know a Batwing, but it's not that Batwing. No, no Batwing. Yeah. Blackwing. Is it Batwing?
Blackwing. It's Blackwing.
Okay.
Jonathan, if you're watching this, shout out to you, man.
But like they'll do everything before you get a Batman. And I think with Diggle, I think it may be smarter to have him as being that overseer of everything instead of just one single thing.
I forgot all about that. You remember when they did the cross and they showed like the Green Lantern universe?
Yeah.
I forgot all about that, Giant.
Mm-hmm.
And that could have been their gateway to that show being its own.
So what you're saying is that, contrary to popular belief, DC during a show did establish a multiverse before another show did. Huh? Ain't that something?
Oh Lord, what? They gave Cisco that for now. What? See, this is why I don't look at the Flash no more. Anyway,
but I thought for Cisco to be head of Argus, I thought that was in like the future.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. It's not like in the more present time.
Day, yeah, they haven't yet.
That's why he's leaving the show.
Which is. I get it. I understand. Given Flash episodes.
Flash is in its last. It got to be this coming up season has to be Flash's last season.
I don't know, man. The creator said he got 2 more seasons in him.
He may have 2 more seasons in him, but the problem will be, I don't think CW is going to give him 2 more seasons of it. But you never know. If again, with the success of Superman and Lois, and to me the success of Stargirl, and looking forward to Stargirl's 2nd season. And whatever happens with Naomi, because that's going to be the make or break show. If that show, and I only mean that in the sense that if that show's tone is anywhere close to these last 2 that we've received, then the silliness of Flash has to go away.
Yeah,
it's nothing wrong with having fun moments. Stargirl has extremely fun comedic moments in it, but it's not like comic book silly. Like Flash is comic book silly at this point. And every time you turn around, you're introducing another speedster. Damn it. Like
it's just weird to me because it didn't start the first 3 seasons of the Flash was not all the time silly. It had silly moments, but it was generally a pretty like
serious type of show.
Yeah.
And then they went the moment Elastic Man got there, it just got overly silly. not necessarily overly racist, as we found out he may have been.
I was about to say,
but overly silly. I'm not even saying he was overly racist. It was some old tweets, but it got silly, and that's the problem of it now. Is with that change of pace, what's going to be next for Flash? because I think that's going to be the grander scope of things with Superman and Lois. It's great to keep it separate now, but how long are you allowed to keep it separate from everything else?
Yeah. So versus Seed, I want to comment on what you're saying. Before my son comes down here, he should be actually coming down here now. I feel the same exact way because I literally brought this picture up. If you had told me when he made his appearance on Supergirl and kind of like looking at him with Lois, I was like, I wasn't really pressed. Like, I wasn't really like any of the crossovers with him. He had some cool moments, but nothing to the levels that this show is giving me from him, from a range standpoint, from a Superman feeling standpoint. I never would guess looking at this that I would get this and this be like one of my favorite shows. I just didn't see that.
Well,
and so
is it because you got him in bits and pieces?
No, I just didn't like him anytime that he was on screen. Like anytime he was working with other people, I was like not convinced. I don't know why. It was kind of like I felt like he was trying to be Superman, but
in all honesty, he plays Superman the same way. He's always played the same exact way. The only difference is this show gives you backstory. But I can't punish him. And for the person who said in the hands of different writers, I hate to tell you this, literally the same writers that work on all CW shows work on Lois and Superman. They don't change up writers here. CW does a writer's room, and all those writers get together and they spring ideas out to get to this type of thing. But I think it was because, keep in mind, a lot of what we saw was pre-Crisis with Superman. So to them, the entire change, everybody had to change from where they were going. So is it a situation where maybe they didn't do Superman right, or maybe this is part of the change? This was always the plan, to have him be the bubbly Superman that you normally would get, and then flip him into this Superman and say, yes, this is the key. Because kind of like Endgame, when you get the first movie after Endgame, and it deals with all the ramifications of Endgame, and you see the change in certain characters. Mm-hmm. This is the change after Crisis. This is actually the only CW show right now that really has to start anew from Crisis.
True. It's true. I just don't know, man. I don't know what a crossover would really feel like. This show just feels so.
You gotta wait till they build it, because clearly, and at this point, don't expect the crossover to just be CW shows. That's all I'm going to say. Don't expect the crossover to be just CW shows at this point.
So you saying, nah, they what are you talking about? Are you talking some craziness now? Are you talking about like
anything that's on HBO Max or any other DC property that's on television? Why wouldn't they cross it over on every network that they have?
I mean,
clearly with Titans now coming to TNT this weekend, and they're pushing it like it's a brand new show, down to even Harley Quinn going on Sci-Fi Network, and they pushing it like a brand new show. Like, I don't think those lines are necessary anymore for them to hold it to just CW people. That's not going to happen anymore. I think when they do whatever they do, and it's going to be next year, because they already said they're not doing any big crossovers, anything from this. It's going to be based off of the next 2 years or so that they do a crossover.
Okay. I ain't gonna lie. I would love to see Titans randomly connected to this. Lucas, you may be in fact correct. Don't mess with my nerve.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. I noticed that, and me and Sam talked about it before this show came out. And I said, wait a minute, because Sam kept saying I didn't like him. I don't like him before. And I said, that was the goal. That was a more silly Superman. Literally, the moment Crisis ended, they let you know things have changed. Hell, they went from having one kid, a baby, to 2 teenagers.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that matter of fact. Hold on, we still never even talked about that. How does that work? Is there a time jump?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense then. So okay,
No. Remember though, it's an alternative version of them. And they get, because remember they ended up with the boys and they're like, what? This not where we were supposed to be. And they have never fully acknowledged if there is a full-time jump that happens.
yeah, because I thought well, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And CW has said, and they said at the end of Crisis that a lot of things were going to change and a lot of things will be explained more down the line what happened with it to possibly blend the shows together. But for right now, they wanted to focus on all of these shows having their separate moments again. Kind of like you got at the beginning of the Arrowverse when everything had their separate moments before you combined all the shows into one. So then we get to ignore the point that it is a huge time jump from them having babies to them having teenagers. And then we see what happens from there. If that makes sense to you, Sam.
Yes, sir.
Because
yeah,
that's
my bad.
Oh.
That was my fault.
Oh no, I just asked you a question. I said, did it make sense to you?
When?
With Titans, with to me, Stargirl, with all these other shows, that they would keep them separate from the time being, which makes sense to do, and then build up to combine them in ways. I don't think you're going to get to huge events anymore because I don't think those are necessary to them.
Mm-hmm.
But you may get a situation where a certain character pops up on another show.
I think at this point, the moment that in Crisis that Ezra Miller showed up,
everything's off the table what they're willing to do.
Anything could happen, and I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Because
matter of fact,
the flex of Ezra Miller was them showing you how much control they have over all of these shows if they need to.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they don't own all the networks. Unlike other superhero brands, like DC kind of is owned by all these different like TNT, CW, clearly HBO Max. All of those are technically owned by Warner Brothers.
Right.
So why not? I can literally combine all of these whenever I want to.
That's true.
And then pull a character from different aspects of different things. That's again, that also is what's going to make the Green Lantern show interesting. Because I think it was announced that Green Lantern show is in the Arrowverse. It's just going to be on HBO Max.
Which is so weird.
And
right.
Yeah, it was announced. It was technically it's part of the Arrowverse. It's just going to be on HBO Max. And it's still produced by Greg, who is the architect behind the Arrowverse.
Man, I don't know. But
which kind of makes you wonder, then where the heck is this Batgirl movie centered at?
So, this is going to sound real bad. I'm going to be careful when I say it.
Because this Batgirl movie is going on HBO Max. It's an HBO Max movie.
My assumption was that Batgirl movie was going to tie in with Matt Reeves' trilogy, much like the Gotham show. That's what I assumed, because it didn't make sense to pull it from anywhere else. Where's it being pulled from?
What do you mean?
Like, where are they going to pull her from? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
because remember, but then that would make no sense, because unless Barbara Gordon and Batman are the same age. Matt Reeves' Batman is the Batman Year One.
Yeah.
That's not the same character. It couldn't be. Unless Batman and Barbara Gordon are the same age or very close to the same age. It wouldn't fit.
No.
But then there's no telling where they're going, because again, they have acknowledged a multiverse in their shows and movies already. That's already established by them. Again, that Ezra Miller portion of Crisis, or the little segue they gave you on Crisis where they showed all the other shows being sucked up to, that was them letting you know, like, yeah, we can connect all of this, but we can loosely connect all of this. Just understand things are going to happen that you may not fully understand, but it still makes sense. And they've already said that Matt Reeves' Batman is already on a separate Earth from everything else.
True. It's a lot of different things that they could pull out of their hats with this, man.
Because technically, the Earth we're on now would still be Ben's Batman, who clearly is in Flash's movie.
Yeah, he is, and I wouldn't be surprised if Grant Gustin randomly showed up in the Flash movie. Like,
you know what? That would not be a surprise at all. That is actually something I'm expecting them to do.
Really?
To put Grant in the Flash movie, and somehow, some way.
I think that would be hilarious to me. But yeah, so as far as
especially if he comes back, and like he comes back while Barry's sitting in a chair, and he comes through a portal and says Lois is the key. That would be hilarious.
I can't. I don't got time. But yeah, so what do you rate these episodes from 7 to 13? Or I guess at this point now, I might as well just say the season.
Yeah, because we only got 2 more episodes in the season. So far, the season is a good 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
This, I said it when we were first starting reviewing it. I didn't expect this to be the best superhero show, but it's clearly the best superhero. Yes, I've been hearing that too. Earth Blue Drew. That is Earth Blue Drew. Yes, I've been hearing that too. That Bale's Batman may show up in the Flash, but
that's crazy.
Like this has been like the best superhero show of the last couple of months because it's consistent, like, and that's the key part. Other shows may have much lower moments. Other shows may have much higher moments, but as from a consistency standpoint and showing a character and only focusing on that character, this has been the best. This has been the knockout that I think CW thought it could be when they decided to do another Superman show.
Yeah, I mean, I'll forever like eat crow, man, because Luke is legit. He had faith in the show and I didn't. I was the one that was trashing. I was like, I don't want to see this trash. What do I see Superman Lois? I don't care about Tyler Hoechlin. What is this Lois? That
down to the first picture of Tyler, and you thought that it was Photoshop, and you realize
I did,
and everybody did until you realize, oh no, he's literally that big.
I was like, what in the heck is this? And it was crazy because the suit looked so good. I was like, that ain't real, bro. That's Photoshop. Like, this is gonna be some garbage. Then that first trailer dropped. And like I said to Lucas, I said, we might have to review this.
Hey. And this is coming from, I have faith in this show, and I am not a Superman fan in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I am not a Superman fan. But I thought this show can be interesting just because you're giving us an older hero. You don't see these too often when they give you older heroes. And an older Superman has always been the most interesting thing to me.
Yeah.
When he sucked up enough powers from the sun, I've always wondered, like, how strong is Superman now?
Exactly.
And why does he constantly hold back in fights? Because now that you think about it, from that comment that I've been holding back for 40 years, that means every fight we've seen him have in this season, he's holding back.
Holding back. He's not trying to kill.
Even when it seemed like this person was a threat, he was holding back. Right. So even when John almost killed him, he still was holding back.
It's craziness. So yeah, I do theorize that in season 2, some way, shape, or form, they're gonna bring a Zod onto this. I hope they don't. What's the word?
Don't do it.
I hope they don't. They're gonna have to pull him in some kind of way.
But why do you have to pull in Zod?
Because he's just too connected to.
How many other villains do you have in Superman?
Oh yeah, I mean they could easily pull a Brainiac and it would be dope, but
I don't want to see Brainiac either. I just saw him on Supergirl.
No, not that Brainiac. Oh God, no, not that.
To me, at this point, the goal should be to look at all the rest of Superman villains to attempt to build stories with all of them. Because guess what, Zod ain't the big one to bring in all honesty. The big one to bring in is the one they're avoiding talking about, and that's Lex. Everybody knows that's the big villain you bring in is Lex. And they're not going to bring him in, I don't think, in season 2. And I definitely wouldn't bring in Zod. I mean, Superman has a great amount of villains that we can focus on before we need to get to the big 3. Because Zod, Brainiac, and Lex are the big 3.
I'm really curious what they do with the kids.
Now that's going to be the interesting part.
I don't know what's going to happen with the kids because, I mean, from a comic book standpoint, the kids are the future. And they actually did like a time jump of what the kids are going to be like much later on where, you know, Jonathan in the comics ends up becoming Superman and Damian ends up becoming Batman, so to speak. But there's a lot of things that they can just do just with these 2 characters that I am very excited.
That would be an interesting character to show up on this show.
Oh, Damian Wayne?
Yeah, buddy.
I would flip out. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, matter of fact, this is the other thing. On Titans, their version of Batman is old enough
to have
Damian at this point.
Because Dick is damn near 30 on this show.
Yeah. And Jason is, you know, he's about to be the Red Hood already. So
if people would lose their shit in the second season of Superman and Lois, and we get something that happens and Jordan meets Damian Wayne.
Like, who is this rich kid that comes to town? Like, I don't know, but he's trying to kill people. Yeah, that would be freaking dope. I would love that. Anyway, hopefully you guys did enjoy our overview of episodes 7 through 13. We will be back for episode 14 when it comes back and airs, I think August the 7th or it's August the 10th, I believe.
Somewhere in that area.
And then there's one final episode after that, which is like August the 17th. But make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe if you're watching this on Twitter. Or if you're watching this on Facebook, make sure you share this link. We'd really appreciate it. If you don't mind, also go down to the description bar below. You can follow our Twitter handles and our Instagram handles. You can follow Lucas on Twitter as well on his handle. And if you would like to support Team JVS, please, if you don't mind, consider supporting our Patreon. We are doing full trailer reactions. I'm thinking about talking with Lucas, maybe doing like more watch parties and movie commentaries. I think that those would be really cool. We had a couple of those.
No, you haven't learned your lesson already, I see.
We didn't do which one didn't we do? We didn't do
BVS?
We didn't do Batman vs Superman.
Yeah,
because of the timing.
And you know how I'm going to feel about doing that. That's fine. Fine. Just know when I do it. Ooh, buddy, I hope y'all don't like it.
we got a lot of other things that we can do commentary for as well.
Iron Man 3.
Oh man, why would you couldn't have said Iron Man 2?
Nope. Iron Man 3. Black Panther would be a really
good one. No.
That would be a really good one.
You know what? We would get canceled. Because I know you. I know you.
That'd be a really good one to do it off as Black Panther.
Oh man, you would crush some people's whole hearts.
I probably would, but that's fine. They'll get over it. People had to do during Man of Steel. The things what? I said about that movie.
We need a buffer. We need Jorge. Jorge needs to be a part of that. Jorge, if you're watching this, you're gonna be a part of our Black Panther watch party. You're gonna be the mediator. I know where this is going. Yeah, I'm down for that though. I'm all with it. We might get canceled, but I'm down with it. Anyway, you guys, y'all take care. Have a good night, and we will be back much later. Here's our outro. Peace, guys.